What if one night the moon vanished? No warning, just gone. The tides collapse, nights turn pitch black, Earth begins to wobble, out of balance, out of time. This isn't just about losing the moon. It's about losing everything that holds us together. It's a quiet night. The sky is clear. The moon hangs full and bright over the horizon, until suddenly it doesn't. In an instant, Earth's only natural satellite vanishes without a trace. No impact, no explosion, just gone. Around the world, astronomers panic. Telescopes scan the sky, desperately searching for any sign of lunar debris, gravitational anomalies, or rogue celestial bodies. But there's nothing. Just the sudden absence of a companion that has been orbiting Earth for over 4 billion years. News spreads like wildfire. Social media erupts with speculation, alien interference, government cover-ups, signs of the apocalypse. While conspiracy theories dominate headlines, the real crisis is already beginning. Unseen, but deeply felt. The moon doesn't just light up our night sky. It stabilizes Earth's axial tilt. It controls the tides. It influences wildlife, circadian rhythms, and even human behavior. So when it disappears, it's not just a poetic loss. It's a planetary emergency. Within minutes, tidal systems across coastal regions begin to destabilize. Without the gravitational pull of the moon, the oceans lose their rhythmic motion. Instead of rising and falling with elegant precision, the tides falter into strange, uneven surges. As darkness spreads, something feels deeply wrong. A silence settles, not the kind that comforts, but the kind that unsettles the soul. It's the silence of an ancient balance suddenly broken. Earth is still spinning, the sun will still rise, but nothing will be the same again. And this is just the beginning. The moon controls Earth's tides through its gravitational pull. Without it, the balance between the ocean and the land is violently disturbed. Almost immediately, coastlines around the world begin to change. In areas like the Bay of Fundy, where the tides rise and fall dramatically each day, the water stagnates. Harbors that once emptied and refilled like a heartbeat now hang in eerie stillness or move in unpredictable ways. In some regions, water floods inland and stays. In others, beaches stretch out unnaturally far as tides fail to return. The moon's absence doesn't just reduce the tides, it throws them into chaos. The sun's gravity still influences water movement, but it's weaker, producing sluggish and uneven effects. Tsunamis don't crash in. This isn't sudden violence. It's slow, creeping instability. Marine ecosystems begin to suffer. Tidal zones, rich in biodiversity, rely on the rhythmic motion to support life. Crabs, mollusks, and seaweed start to die off. Fish become disoriented, confused by the shifting salinity and temperatures. Human infrastructure is hit next. Coastal cities that depend on tidal flow for fishing, shipping, and waste control face major disruptions. Without predictable tides, ports clog with stagnant water, sanitation falters, disease risks rise. In places like Venice, Tokyo, and New York, seawalls and drainage systems begin to fail. Not because of rising sea levels, but because of confused sea behavior. Water goes where it shouldn't, and stays where it mustn't. For a planet built on rhythm, the loss of the moon is like cutting the strings of a symphony mid-performance. What follows isn't silence, it's dissonance. The moon does more than pull the tides. It anchors Earth's axial tilt. Our planet doesn't spin perfectly upright. It's tilted at an angle of about 23.5 degrees, and that tilt is the reason we experience stable seasons. But without the moon, that delicate balance begins to wobble. Slowly at first, like a spinning top beginning to falter. Earth's tilt starts to drift, sometimes toward the poles, sometimes toward the equator. This shift, though invisible to the naked eye, triggers powerful consequences. Over months and years, seasons lose their rhythm. Winters become longer and darker in some regions. In others, summers grow dangerously hot and stretch endlessly. Places that once had mild climates may plunge into icy darkness, while others could roast under relentless sun. Crops fail, not because of drought or flood, but because the sun's path across the sky has changed. Farmers can't predict the seasons. The food chain starts to fracture. In the long term, this instability could lead to climate cycles as extreme as ice ages or tropical overheating. Earth could tilt as far as 45 degrees or more without the moon to act as a gravitational damper. Imagine Antarctica basking in tropical sun, while Europe freezes under an Arctic dome. Even more disturbingly, the shift isn't smooth. It's chaotic. The axis doesn't just tip and stay. It fluctuates, sways, trembles. Civilization is built on the assumption of stability. Calendars, agriculture, timekeeping, all of it relies on Earth's reliable lean. Without the moon, that reliability is gone. The Earth itself becomes unpredictable. And we're just along for the ride. With the moon gone, the most immediate and visible change is darkness. For millions of years, the moon has been our natural nightlight, reflecting the sun's rays and bathing the earth in a soft silver glow. Without it, night becomes truly night. Cities may stay lit with artificial light, but in rural and natural areas, darkness becomes absolute. The stars shine sharper, sure, but so does the blackness between them. The world feels emptier. For humans, this change is more than aesthetic, it's psychological. Studies show that exposure to moonlight affects sleep, mood, and hormone regulation. Without that subtle nighttime glow, insomnia increases, melatonin spikes. People begin reporting increased anxiety and restlessness. For animals, it's even more drastic. Nocturnal creatures that rely on moonlight to hunt or migrate are suddenly disoriented. Owls miss their prey. Sea turtles hatch and scramble blindly in the wrong direction. Wolves, usually guided by moon phases, behave erratically. In the oceans, plankton and small fish that rise to the surface during moonlit nights no longer follow predictable patterns. This has a ripple effect. Larger fish, birds, and marine mammals lose a vital part of their feeding routine. Cultures that have revered the moon for centuries now face an existential void. Myths collapse, rituals falter. The full moon festivals, the lunar calendars, all become obsolete overnight. And then there's the emotional toll. The moon has always been a constant, present during our heartbreaks, victories, and silent moments. Without it, the night sky becomes a symbol of loss, a reminder that even the most eternal things can vanish. Animals don't watch weather reports. They don't read calendars. They follow instinct, cycles, and rhythms, many of which are tied to the moon. Without it, wildlife behavior begins to unravel. Migration patterns become confused. Birds that once followed the lunar cycle to navigate long distances now fly off course or delay their flights entirely. Massive flocks vanish from expected skies. Sea creatures are even more affected. Salmon spawning runs shift erratically, confusing predators and starving indigenous communities that rely on them. Whales, dolphins, and other marine mammals begin to beach themselves more frequently, disoriented by changes in the ocean's currents and lunar-driven tidal paths. Coral reefs, already vulnerable, begin to decline even faster. Many corals spawn in sync with lunar phases. Without the moon, their reproductive timing collapses, leading to decreased biodiversity and damaged ecosystems. Insects, too, are thrown into disarray. Fireflies and moths rely on moonlight for mating and movement. Some species vanish altogether, unable to adapt to pitch-black nights. Predators that once hunted under the glow of a full moon now struggle with sudden darkness. Prey animals gain the upper hand. Some predator populations decline rapidly, triggering imbalances down the food chain. Even land mammals like elephants and wildebeests, whose migrations are partially triggered by moonlight and season changes, alter their ancient routes, destabilizing entire ecosystems. Humanity begins to notice the absence in small ways. Fewer birds in the sky, fewer insects in the summer air, once predictable animal migrations now gone. And as the web of life frays, the world becomes quieter, but not in a peaceful way. It's the kind of silence that comes when entire ecosystems start to break. Since the dawn of civilization, the moon has shaped how humans understand time, meaning, and the cosmos. Ancient cultures across the globe track the lunar cycle to create calendars. The Islamic, Hebrew, Hindu, and traditional Chinese calendars, all built on the phases of the moon, lose their anchor. Months become meaningless. The word month itself is derived from moon. Without the moon, how do we measure the passage of time in a way that feels natural? Festivals disappear, lunar New Year's, full moon harvests, and countless religious observances fade. Even Easter, based on the first full moon after the spring equinox, becomes dislodged from tradition. The cultural impact is enormous. Humanity has sung to the moon, written poetry about it, worshipped it as a god or goddess. Its disappearance is more than astronomical. It's existential. New myths may arise, stories to explain where the moon went, what it means, and whether it will ever return. But the shared narrative that spanned continents and millennia is gone. Artists mourn the loss of their celestial muse. Photographers, dreamers, lovers, all deprived of that glowing companion that inspired emotion and imagination. And as the moon's absence stretches from days to decades, a new generation grows up having never seen a full moon. Time itself begins to feel distorted. With the earth wobbling and the seasons fluctuating, humans lose a sense of regularity. No moon means no reliable monthly cycle, no beacon to track the slow passage of night to night. In its absence, the sky becomes colder, emptier, and so does something deep in us. The moon once gave rhythm to life. Now humanity floats through darkness, counting hours, but forgetting meaning. With the moon gone and the world unraveling, humanity does what it's always done in the face of crisis: adapt or try to. Scientists begin working on artificial tide control systems to protect coastal cities from the unpredictable surges. Massive underwater turbines and movable seawalls are developed. But progress is slow. Nature is faster. New calendars emerge, based on solar tracking, satellite rotations, or even atomic clocks. But none feel natural. The rhythm is gone. Cultures argue over how to count time. In agriculture, AI-powered climate prediction models try to replace the moon's once steady guidance, but forecasts are increasingly unreliable. Crops fail in new and unexpected ways. Farming turns into a gamble. Mental health professionals see a sharp increase in sleep disorders, seasonal depression, and existential anxiety, especially among children who've never seen a moonlit night. In response, virtual reality sky domes are introduced in some cities. These artificial environments simulate moon phases to help regulate sleep cycles and emotional balance. Some people cling to these digital moons like a lifeline. Others reject them entirely, calling them a poor imitation of something irreplaceable. Artists, writers, and thinkers begin forming lunar memory societies, gathering to remember the moon and preserve its symbolism through music, holograms, and oral storytelling. Humanity doesn't collapse outright. We build, we invent, we mimic. But everything feels offbeat, like we're marching to a rhythm we can no longer hear. We adapt, technologically, socially, and emotionally. But deep down, there's a quiet understanding. Some losses can't be replaced. The moon was never just a rock in the sky. It was a compass, a calendar, a muse. And without it, we become a planet slightly out of sync with nature and with ourselves. Years have passed, generations have come and gone, and yet something still feels missing. The Earth has survived, humanity is still here, but we are not the same. Without the moon, we've adapted to a new kind of darkness, both in the sky And in the soul, we've built machines to imitate tides, calendars to mimic rhythm, and virtual moons to soothe our emotions. But behind it all, there is a quiet grief. The night sky, once full of poetry and purpose, is now just stars and void. And this loss is more than cultural or emotional. It's evolutionary. Over time, scientists begin to notice subtle changes in human biology. Circadian rhythms become less consistent. Sleep cycles degrade. Even fertility rates, long tied to lunar phases, show fluctuations never seen before. Children grow up without moonlight, never learning to fear or love it. Their art, music, and literature carry new tones, less wonder, more precision. Meanwhile, animals that once synchronized with lunar cues either go extinct or evolve entirely new behaviors. Ecosystems settle into a new balance, less diverse, but adapted to the silence. And still, there are people who look up every night, hoping irrationally for the moon to return. Maybe we'll build an artificial one, a glowing satellite that tracks across the sky, giving us back what we lost. But even then, it won't be the same. The moon was a witness to every kiss, every battle, every birth under its light. Without it, the earth still spins, but it spins a little lonelier. And we are left to wonder, what else could we lose and still remain who we are?